Good morning and welcome to another episode of Josh and Pat. I'm Joshua Klein, joined by Patrick Cassett, and Deandre Hopkins is going to be a Chief. Now, this news comes from Chris Jones' Instagram account after he posted a classy picture of him at the ESPYs, followed by Deandre Hopkins putting one of these emojis, followed by Chris Jones then going, fingers crossed, handshake, business deal. Now, everyone's saying that this is a done deal because obviously in 2023, that's what comments on Instagram photos means. Patrick, is DeAndre Hopkins going to be a Chief? And if he does become a Chief, is there even a point to playing the NFL season this year?
Well, you'd have to shut down the season. I mean, because people would say this is unfair. I'm going to compare this to a Josh Gordon signing where people said, you know what? Unfair, Josh Gordon going to the Chiefs. No. If DeAndre Hopkins goes to the Chiefs, guess what? Good player. But you know what? I think he's on the downslope of his career, Josh. I think he's on the downslope.
Well, he's after 30, and people do say once you hit 30 as a receiver, you're pretty much, you might as well retire.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been told. Personally, I think he maybe has a couple years left in the tank potentially, because if you think about it, Patrick, think about what the Chiefs were able to do with pretty much nobody on their roster except Travis Kelce. You had a guy,
Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdes-Scantling.
Like I said, look at what they were able to do with nobody on their roster. And so I think if you add DeAndre Hopkins, absolutely, this becomes a very scary team.
How has he not been signed yet? Well, I apologize.
Well,
how did it take this long for him not to be signed?
Well, because you have to think about it. I mean, it's probably not been as long as we think it has, because for a long part of that, we thought he was going to get traded.
Right.
And then
exactly.
he just gets cut.
Not his fault. And it's
not his fault.
Right.
And then, of course, now he wants the same amount of money that the Ravens paid Odell Beckham Jr.
Right.
And most people are like, oh, I don't know about that. And you think of how late it is in the year and how the rosters are pretty much already been set.
Right. That's kind of an issue.
And if you needed a guy at wide receiver, you probably went out and drafted somebody.
Probably. Yeah, but still, I mean, he's DeAndre Hopkins.
He's DeAndre Hopkins. So we're going to get you signed, DeAndre Hopkins. Speaking of elite wide receivers, Justin Jefferson posting up pictures with Libby Dunn.
Wow.
Now, Libby, who hasn't she taken pictures with?
She's been everywhere. She's been everywhere.
She had Chase Elliott a couple weeks ago at the NASCAR race. Now she's with Justin Jefferson.
Popped over to the College World Series. I mean, she's been everywhere.
She was at the College World Series. That's right. I guess is this good news for Justin Jefferson? Or
I mean, good news for Justin Jefferson. I mean, if you're trying to bring those positive vibes to you, I mean, you get Libby Dunn to come in, you know. But you know, good for what is it, Jay Jetta?
Jay Jettas, yeah. Good for him. Good for him. Philip Rivers gets child number 10.
Hey,
so
congratulations,
Philip.
Congrats,
Officially
Phil.
Has enough to start an entire NFL offense if he was playing quarterback.
Yeah, which is huge. I mean, and you think that probably extends his career a bit.
Well, and I mean, I'm not sure what the age gap from the top one to the bottom one is. I mean, but you really could start in a few years here, start fielding 5v5 basketball games in your own family.
Yeah, I mean, and we know the Philip Rivers family, man. I mean, let's not forget when the Chargers moved to L.A., he took the van. From San Diego to L.A. every day.
Well, he wasn't going to go and sacrifice, he wasn't going to have to sell that house and, find a new place.
Put the kids in new school.
And it really does put it in perspective. I mean, when he played that last year for the Colts, probably wasn't because he wanted to play football. He knew that 10 was probably on the way at some point.
And he sacrificed.
And he needed to sacrifice as a dad to provide for his family. So he takes the deal with the Colts. He puts them through that year. And if we're all looking back actually on that Colts year, if you really think about it,
he was the best Colts quarterback.
He was the best Colts quarterback we've had in a while. People like that was he was legit, he was all right. He was definitely all right.
Almost won a playoff game.
Almost. So hey, shout out Philip Rivers there.
Hey, Phil getting the job done. I mean, if we know anything,
on and off the field,
he might not be a closer, but you know what? He'll get the
He's
job
had
done.
more success with the Chargers than I'd say Justin Herbert has.
Considering that he did win a playoff game, yes.
So, you tell me. You tell me. And he didn't blow a lead to the Jaguars. So,
yeah, people forget it.
Moving on. This is a very interesting next subject, Patrick, because we're in the world of sports media, and this is a sports media topic.
Mhm.
It's Richard Sherman as a candidate to replace Shannon Sharp on the well-known show Skip and Shannon. Now, this is very interesting to say the least, because one, Skip Bayless still has a job.
Still his job. But he says, hey, guess what? It might take a little while to find a co-host.
And it might. But also, this is the same show that took Shannon Sharp from being one of the most likable people just in sports personalities to, I mean, by the end of it, he was insufferable. You're taking Richard Sherman, who, let's be real, he's already kind of on the...
He's a
fringe guy already. What does Richard Sherman look like after this show? I can't imagine that lasts more than 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if Richard comes in. But, I mean, this is what I want out of Skip's, co-host. I want someone that despises the Cowboys, that likes LeBron James, and I need them to follow in Shannon's footsteps and start a fight against the Memphis Grizzlies.
Well, he was trying to start a fight with the Memphis Grizzlies.
It turns out he was right.
Looking back, we should have given him a little bit more credit. Honestly, we owe him maybe an apology. But Memphis, they're on the come up. They're coming back now, so they'll be all right. But yeah, the Skip and Shannon thing. I mean, Richard Sherman, listen, he did a great job for the Thursday night prime cast, which now even then he was fiery. And can you have two people that are fiery? You might need somebody who can level Skip down a bit. Maybe they should go in that direction. But no, they said, hey, we want every episode, every minute of every single episode to be the loudest, most back and forth explosion of television that we could possibly have, because that's their model, and I guess we're gonna see if that really works out. Ratings. And everyone loves that. Who doesn't love people yelling at each other? At
9:30 in the morning, that's what I love.
That's what I wouldn't wake up to is people yelling at each other. Cool. This is a great photo that's popping out.
Awesome
in the sports
photo here,
world.
Josh.
Lionel Messi chilling in the Publix in Florida. And now this is the same guy who probably couldn't leave his house ever in his entire life. And when he was in Barca, you can't leave your house and go shopping. You get swarmed. When he goes to France, you think he can pop out and go to the nearest Paris,
Saint-Germain,
whatever store you got? No, absolutely not. But in Florida, no, that nobody gives a crap. Go shop where you want to shop.
Hey, Florida man takes to Publix to get a pub sub. That's the headline here.
And I think is this going to sway Messi to really become a part of the United States? I mean, I think if you go to a Publix,
he's buying in.
You're buying in.
He's buying in.
You're buying into the culture. I don't even know what was in that cart. You were talking.
I mean, look, Lionel Messi, just like us, just a guy being a dude. Okay, I mean, this is. Everybody loves a pub sub. He goes in, he gets it. Doesn't have to deal with the paparazzi.
No. You mean you had a person capture
a photo. But I'd
argue, was he even taking a picture of Messi? He was probably just taking a picture of someone else. Messi just happened to be in the photo.
Happened to be there. He was probably just trying to post it on Facebook. It's like, hey, I got the $10 off on the coupons today. Yeah. And Messi happened to be in that photo.
Yeah. And so, I mean, good for Messi. And is he going to make his start soon, or because he's there? He
just got here.
He's in Miami.
It takes a little
time. That was the first, you get to that destination and you have nothing in the pantry. You got to stock up.
Surprised he doesn't have a guy for that, though.
Yeah, it feels like why I don't know why you're doing the shopping, but I mean, he's just like us, for real.
Yeah, I mean that's great. That's what you get with Messi when you bring a superstar to America. But he's still trying to get adjusted to the culture, get adjusted to the Florida weather. I'm sure he'll be on the field soon enough.
Absolutely. Shohei Otani, first half AL MVP. Now, I didn't realize we started giving halfway awards.
Yes.
This was a news to me. I didn't realize, but I guess it makes sense.
But hey, congratulations.
And honestly, it makes sense because then we could have had Russell Wilson have maybe 5 halfway MVPs instead of having 0 MVP votes.
Yeah, because I don't know if you, I'm not sure if you knew this, Josh, but he has never received an MVP vote in his life.
Never has. But I'd argue that if we took this
Stopped
baseball
in the middle of the
into
season.
the NFL season, I mean, we got a 5-time halfway first half MVP. And so that's kind of crazy. Good for Shohei. The question is now, is he going to be an Angel, or is he just, I mean, is he going to get traded right now? Is he going to wait to the end of the season, and are the Angels going to let him walk for nothing? I mean, what's going on?
I mean, congratulations, Shohei Otani. You are an LA Dodger. I mean, that's...
Really?
I think so. I think they can afford him.
So he stays in LA, doesn't he have to move?
Doesn't have to move.
Now what? But the Yankees aren't going to be happy to. Yankees fans aren't going to be happy to hear that. I thought he was definitely going to be in the pinstripes.
And you got to think the pinstripes a little tarnished, but they do get the extra money now because they got the insurance ad on the uniforms now, so they got the extra money. They can't afford Shohei Otani.
Yeah,
so smart move there for the New York Yankees if you think about it.
Gotcha. Now, what about Steve Cohen? Because last time I checked, Steve Cohen was in the pay-to-win phase. Mm-hmm. He was going to go, hey, if I can pay money to get you, I'm going to. Turns out, it doesn't seem like that's how baseball is working, even though in all of our brains, we thought that's exactly how that was going to work.
Right. Generally, if you pay a lot of money, you would get the better players. But for the New York Mets, turns out those better players not always play good. And
oh man, and maybe Buck Showalter might not be the guy. And I'm not saying that because as an Orioles fan, I love myself some Buck, but it just doesn't seem like for whatever reason the formula is not there. Frank the Tank, obviously, he's not been happy lately. But I think I guess if you're saying Shohei is going to be a Dodger, I'll believe you. But you know what? I'm not going to believe you. I said Angels are going to let him stay because if I know anything,
they're going to let him stay.
They're going to force their hand and make him stay because if I know anything, it's that the Angels, if they can have Mike Trout and Shohei Otani,
best team in baseball,
they got the two best players. All they got to do is put anybody there.
Doesn't matter.
They're going to be all right. So Angels are going to figure this thing out.
Look, the LA Angels have formulated whatever an NBA GM wants to do. You get the best two players in the world. I mean, your team's going to be good, right? I mean, there's no way they can't.
Yeah. I mean, Los Angeles Angels also a terrible name if you really think about it. I mean, it's the Angels
in the outfield though. It was pretty.
It's the Angels. Film. Angels, yeah.
Yeah, but the Angels in the outfield was a pretty.
Yeah.
Disney.
I guess I've never seen that. Really? No. Moving on to the NBA news. Wow, this is early for some NBA time. The NBA has granted the Bulls disability request for Alonzo Ball. Now, I believe it's about $10.2 million.
Around there, granted. Just about 10.2.
And so this means that maybe they could sign somebody to keep Lonzo. And this is, again, another year Lonzo's not playing.
He's 25 now, and he hasn't stepped on an NBA floor since he was 22 years old.
Yeah, but at this point, it's like they've had him so long. The Bulls have. It's like, well, we gotta at least we've bought in this far.
So
we have to see what happens.
I think you haven't given Lonzo enough time yet. You got to give him another contract just to figure it out.
Lonzo Ball is like it's kind of like in my eyes. There's a lot of similarities between the Trey Lance situation in San Francisco. It's like we have him.
What if he's a late bloomer?
What if he's great?
And what if
we got to keep him around? And Lonzo Ball is playing pretty good. And I think that also goes to show you how pretty much mediocre and how big the drop-off of point guards in this league is. That they're like, oh, man, we gotta hold out for Lonzo here.
Well, except, I mean, it shows you that. And, I mean, it shows you how Chris Paul can go. And he's a backup point guard.
Yeah, no, Chris Paul, not good enough to be a starting point guard. Which, I mean, on his team, fair. Very fair. But Lonzo Ball, he's a starting point guard the second he gets healthy.
Yeah.
So whether that be 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, Lonzo Ball, once he's back on the court, forget about it.
Because the Bulls just haven't given him enough time. You got to give him another contract. He hasn't had enough time to prove.
No.
And that's the thing. But Josh, do you think is he allowed to park with the disability roster exemption? Is he allowed to park in the handicap spot now?
Well, I'd argue they of course. And if there isn't one, they make one for him.
Maybe a special one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, what are you doing with a $10.2 million just to sign a player? No, that you can put ramps in. You got to retrofit this whole
Facility.
facility. Make it handicap accessible.
Right, because if we just take like maybe $1 million of the 10.2, you're still left with the 9.2.
Yeah,
can go out and get a couple
you can get
players.
somebody. You
Yeah.
can get somebody with 9.2. So that's cool. Last thing or two things on the docket. Number one, we got NASCAR preview. Patrick, where are we at this week?
Josh, we are at I would say one of our least favorite tracks on the sim that we have covered. It's New Hampshire. It's the Magic Mile.
New Hampshire sucks.
Yeah, and this week, Josh, I mean, we got to be looking around at some guys that need to make a run. Some playoffs shaken up last week with some points.
Yep.
But you know what? I'm going to go with a guy that has been on a tear lately.
Okay.
And he actually does finish most of the races that he starts. And you know what? I'm going with Denny Hamlin.
Wow.
He was a winner last night in the SRX series.
Wow.
And I think he gets it done this week in New Hampshire.
Now, I'm going to go with a guy who seemingly, was on the potential for the best year of all time. That being
best
said,
second half of all time is still a potential.
Still on the line because he could be the second half MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say it's been a kind of a rough go, especially even if you look at last night, off the track stuff on another track.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Larson's my pick. I'm gonna pick Kyle Larson because I see his potential. I see his ceiling.
I understand.
And it's just a buy low, sell high kind of deal right here. Which for Kyle Larson, most people will be like, "You're buying low." Yeah, I'm buying low. I don't know if that guy's finished a race in the last. I don't know. Has he finished a race this year? We don't know that. Maybe at least 2, because I think he does have those wins.
He does have 2 wins. Yeah,
but I argue if those races were maybe like 10 laps longer,
probably doesn't.
Does he finish them? I don't know. I do not know at all. But I'm gonna go with Kyle Larson. I mean, like again, last night, biggest paycheck of all time for whatever. Dirt racing, and he couldn't finish that race. Was rocking the Hendrick cars. I appreciate that Hendrick cars goes and they follow him.
It's gonna get that sponsorship.
Oh yeah, Hendrick car. I mean, how many cars is Hendrick cars selling because of Kyle Larson? It's gotta be a lot.
I mean, probably dozens.
Dozens of cars at least. Yes. I mean, they're moving the needle. You think your buddy that you went to high school with, who's working at the car dealership, is the best car salesman? No, no. Kyle Larson.
Wait until you get him on the track.
Well, Kyle Larson is selling cars left and right. Last thing on the docket here, Patrick. Pictures of this sky mansion are being put out, and it's in India. And to be honest with you, Patrick, I'm looking at the Sky Mansion.
I'm not a huge fan of the design,
and I'm not sure if I love it either. It's like, why? What are we doing here?
You could have put the mansion anywhere. You decided to put it on top of a skyscraper.
I'd argue if you have that much money to put a mansion that big on top of a skyscraper, which is basically essentially a penthouse that's just super big, you could put that mansion anywhere.
Well, it's an outdoor penthouse.
An outdoor penthouse.
Yeah, it's an outdoor penthouse.
You could put that anywhere. Instead now, what do you go outside? Hey, Dad, can we go play catch? Yeah, buddy, let's go out there. You toss a pigskin around. Next thing you know, one throw gets loose, and you're killing somebody.
Which is really unfortunate because I don't think that's what they're trying to do. They also have grass outside, but it's not connected to any. Like, how can the grass grow?
I mean, you just can't have kids here, right?
No, there's no way.
It's just
also, it's probably very dangerous if you were to throw a party.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, yeah. You don't want intoxicated people in this house at all.
There needs to be like, you know how like when you go bowling, you get the bumper lanes? Like if there's a party and people are having fun, there needs to be bumper lanes.
And I'd argue if you just fell from the top of the actual mansion to where the mansion's grass is, you're in some trouble. You fall anywhere else though here, I mean, it's over. I mean, yeah, not for me. But hey,
unless it's like a Men in Black 3 situation. But that's I doubt it.
I doubt that. So I mean, yeah, I guess that's what you want to do. Personally, me, and if I had that kind of money, am I building that? Probably not.
I'm probably gonna be.
I probably want to get out of the city, to be honest.
On the ground, and I probably want to be on the ground.
Yeah. So, difference of opinions. If you guys are still watching at this point, thank you. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And before you go and before you click away, make sure you guys DM us on Instagram at Picks and Pancakes. You can get a free mug and a $10 McDonald's gift card. This is episode 2 of Josh and Pat on the road. As our studio is definitely
Under construction.
It's seen some better days. We are gonna figure this out. It's gonna be great. Trust me. And if there's a place that you guys want to see us next, let us know in the comments. And we'll see you guys on Monday. You have a fantastic weekend. A peace.